Wichita, Kansas, a quiet, peaceful town in the heart of America. Families left their doors unlocked, children played outside until dark, and everyone trusted their neighbors. But behind one of those white fences lived a man whose darkness would terrify the entire city for 3 decades. It began in 1974. The Otero family was found murdered in their own home, both parents and 2 young children. The police were stunned. There was no robbery, no forced entry, and no clear motive. Everything was clean, organized, almost ritualistic. Whoever did this wasn't a first-timer. He was precise, calculated, and terrifyingly calm. Over the next few years, similar cases followed. Women went missing, families were found dead, and a new fear began to grow in Wichita. Then came the first letter. The killer described his crimes in disturbing detail and signed it with 3 letters. BTK. Bind, torture, kill. That was his method. That was his identity. Soon, every resident lived in fear. People started locking doors, buying dogs, and checking their windows twice before sleeping. No one knew who the BTK killer was or when he would strike again. He didn't follow patterns. He could be anyone. A delivery man, a friend, even the person sitting next to you at church. Then, suddenly, he disappeared. For years, there were no more murders, no more letters. Time passed. The city healed. Many thought he had died or gone to prison for something else. But after 30 years of silence, in 2004, a new letter arrived. "Hello, it's me again. Has it been too long?" It said. The letter contained photos, maps, and clues only the original killer could know. The police realized the nightmare was back. Among the evidence he sent was a floppy disk, something that would finally expose the man behind the mask. Forensic experts analyzed it carefully and found hidden data that traced back to a church computer. The file had been last modified by a user named Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader, a city compliance officer, Boy Scout leader, and church president. A man everyone described as polite, calm, and helpful. He lived in a normal suburban home with his wife and children. To his neighbors, he was the perfect citizen. To the police, he was the ghost they had hunted for 30 years. When officers finally arrested him, Rader didn't fight back. He simply smiled and said, "Oh, you got me." Inside the interrogation room, he described every murder in chilling detail, each one planned like a project. He called his victims projects, not people. He had kept photos, notes, and trophies from every crime. He spoke about them without emotion, as if discussing a hobby. In 2005, Dennis Rader was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms, 1 for each of his victims. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Even today, criminal psychologists study his behavior, trying to understand how someone could hide such darkness behind such an ordinary face. What made the case so horrifying wasn't just the murders, it was the deception. For 3 decades, Rader lived a double life, a family man by day, a sadistic killer by night. He enforced city rules, attended church every Sunday, and smiled at his neighbors, while secretly planning his next kill. The story of the BTK killer reminds us that evil doesn't always look evil. Sometimes it wears a uniform, sometimes it goes to church, sometimes it lives right next door. Dennis Rader wasn't a monster from a movie. He was real, and that's what makes his story so terrifying. Sometimes the scariest monsters don't come from the dark. They come from across the street.